Hi guys, I usually live stream from 4 p.m. Central Times until around this time. I had a couple glitches on my last live stream, and this is part two, and we were looking at how a YouTuber or a content creator, Cynthia, went undercover to investigate Shein's labor violations in China. So let's look at that. We'll also talk about Farmchella, and we'll also learn a bit about what's happening in sustainable fashion by listening to like a TED Talk sort of thing. So if you're new, welcome to Streams of Collective Consciousness. If you are always, watching, thank you for coming back after the tech issues. But let us get into this video called I Went Undercover to Investigate Shein's Labor Violations. I'm excited to see what we learn.
This is a video about Shein supply chain that has never been shown on YouTube. I am at a village where local people call Shein Village because here are where hundreds of Shein's manufacturers are located. Today, my brother and I are going to go inside this village and hopefully to capture some footage of Shein's extensive supply chain. Back in 2022, Shein was questioned about its labor violation in its supply chain here in China. Shein then pledged $15 million over 3 to 4 years to upgrade its supply chain, aimed to ensure ethical practice and improve the welfare of workers. Despite these efforts, Shein continues to be questioned over labor practices, including concerns about forced labor and working conditions within its extensive supply chain. About 2 years has passed. Let's see how Shein is doing with this commitment. This village is called Nancun, located in Panyu District, Guangzhou, a city in southern China and home to Shein's headquarters. It has been reported that there are more than 500 large and small manufacturers in the village working for Shein. I do not work for Shein and I'm not a journalist. I'm just a YouTuber who happen to live around this area. And I'm curious to see if labor violations still exist, and if so, why is still a problem that has not been solved.
See, these are the people I respect. She's literally doing this to explore what is happening in her home city. That's very, very exciting to see, and also like very indicative of the times of awareness that we have about the issues in the fashion industry and exposing the truth to those that want to watch it on YouTube.
These 500 manufacturers form a highly responsive supply chain that meets all of Shein's needs for its on-demand small batch production model. From design and fabric sourcing through production and packaging, the entire process can take as little as a few hours. Shein has been widely criticized for poor working conditions, excessive hours, and low wages. Today, I want to explore this issue further. Walking through the village, we could see lots of hiring information. I spotted a job board packed with openings in garment production, with people regularly scanning it for full-time or contract roles. We met a worker in the industry who shared insights about the pay rates for some of the hiring positions.
他是这样子的，你看那些基建的，他把工资都写得很高，但是包月的呢，他敢不敢写这么高的？包月的他就不敢写这么高了。
他计件的话，他是多少钱一件？
这个不一定的，计件的要看衣服那个。
看衣服。他有那个底薪吗？
没有。
都没有底薪啊。
To only receive money based on the piece rate system is so astounding to me, because basically what that means is they only get paid by the things that they do. So let's say they're sewing like the side of the hem of a shirt. They only get paid a certain amount for every time they do that. So sometimes they can't even make like minimum wage or like a base pay of any sort, because they're literally only paid by their productivity. If they only sew 100 hems and they get paid like 10 cents, for example, for it, that equates to that amount at the end of the day. So you have to work very, very fast to be paid the very minimum. And that is just another tactic to pressure them to work very fast for very little pay. It's not ethical whatsoever.
像那个你看纸匠、车板，还有那个杂工，这些都是包月的。他1万到1万3，基本工资就可能就是1万，7000到8500的话，我估计就是7000。我们在外面租这个的话，基本上都差不多就有1万2、3的包月的。
那个纸匠有1万2、3。
你看他这个才写个1万到1万3，然后你看他评测写的那么高，你看就这个写的就不靠谱啊。
Just based on what he has experienced, the actual pay rates might be lower than stated.
都有8500左右，他才7000到8500。
I also documented the working environments, which range from large factories to small family-run workshops. To be honest, these conditions may not seem pleasant, but they represent the industry standard for garment manufacturing in China. To better understand suppliers and worker compensation structures, I interviewed a factory owner in Dongguan, China, a personal connection who had previously been approached by Shein. 所以你们也没有做Shein？
没有做，
他们也没有找你做？
有朋友介绍，但是我没做。但是那个叫做Shein的话，它快返，它单量大，还有那个其实利润很少，因为我只有3到5块的利润。如果是我自己做的，像我们这种做3到5块就亏死了。
懂。
就它的价格就是在不到5块钱利润。就是他所有的东西都打到底了，就是给工人多少？
对，就是他给工人的单价也是很低。
对，他给工人的单价基本上是后整，就是比如说给工人多少钱就多少钱，就基本上没有太多多余的那种，所以没什么利润空间。
了解。If it's my impression that Shein pushes for the lowest possible prices during negotiation to maintain its competitive edge, because competition in the Chinese market is harsh. Suppliers have little choice but to do what Shein requested to stay in business. I am at a village again today, and I want to pretend to be someone who is looking for a job and see if I can talk to anyone who actually work in the industry to get some first-hand information of how they feel about working in Shein's supply chain.
Wait, was that KFC in the back? I'm so sorry. Wait, I was being really serious and focused, and then look, KFC. No, wait, it's coming. KFC. It's KFC. I didn't know they had KFC. What? Dang. I need to watch more videos on China. Wow, I've been misled my whole life. I love this video though, by the way. I think it's showing a real insider scoop of what's actually happening versus like these PR videos and PR things and statements of like what's happening. Well, this is the concrete reality, and I don't think she has a malicious intent to like show false images or like false videos or anything like that. She's just like going through this journey and showing and reflecting what she sees and feels, and I really love this sort of video content creation.
But just to know that, like any other industry, wages in the garment manufacturing industry are based on different rules and skills required to perform the task.
那个做计件是多少钱？4毛钱一件。
你好，我想问一下，这边工作真的是有1万多工资这么高吗？
网上才叫那个整个店高一点。
什么？一般5、6千，不是说都有1万多吗？
看你是什么工种的。
OK，要不要加班啊？要。这边就说有1万多，我们就想来看看。
那有是有。
但要加班是不是？
可能要干10几个小时。
10几个小时才有1万。主管有吧？就是
8、9千吧。
8、9千。我刚看外面招聘写1万6哎。
整个月薪很少的，1万多的。
300-400是日结吗？不是
长工。
长工，那也是计件是吧？有没有底薪啊？
哪有什么底薪啊？
我刚
妈的加班。
There is no base salary and they don't get paid for working overtime. If you want to earn the advertised salary that they put on their posters, you'll have to work about 12 hours. That is crazy.
加班费就没有。
加班费都没有啊？
没有。
他不是计件吗？
是计件啊，没加班费啊。
计件怎么会有加班费？对啊，就是你做
自愿加的。
So they're paid by how many pieces they make. So if they want the highest possible quote unquote salary, they have to work 12 hours to make the promoted like earnings that you can make that is put on the poster. But how many pieces will you need to sew to make the maximum amount? 12 hours worth of work. And if you work overtime and do more of like the maximum amount, you don't get paid more. Very interesting. But most of the people don't even meet quotas. Like they're struggling to like meet basic production quotas because they can't work that fast. So it's literally impossible to reach this like maximum amount of pay. Like it's a never ending cycle of production that they can't keep up with. Rush orders.
Share that his shift runs from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. with breaks for lunch and dinner. These hours seem typical in the Shein village. After a quick dinner, my friend and I returned to film more. Many manufacturers, both large and small, were still operating at the time. As I film this video, I feel very conflicted. Based on Shein's website, workers in the supply chain, on average, earn more than the average wage in private sector. But Shein does not disclose how these samples are collected without knowing how many hours they work. It is hard to tell if these numbers are competitive. Based on my conversations with people in the industry, observations of job openings, and visit at the clothing manufacturing market in the city, I would say pay rates in Shein's extensive supply chain is roughly the industry average, not significantly above.
Can you imagine working from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and you're not even making base pay? You're only getting paid for piece rates? Oh my gosh, this is exploitation to the T.
In order to earn the above average income, you would need to take extra shifts and sometimes under high pressure. Conditions I have seen Shein's worker describe on Chinese social media.
Okay, so she put here, Shein small batch model means razor thin profits for factories, strict quality checks, and crushing inventory risks, while workers are pushed for micro orders and sudden deadlines.
And sometimes under high pressure. Conditions I have seen Shein's worker describe on Chinese social media. Behind this phenomenon lies Shein's need to meet the demands of its rapid product turnover and tight deadlines, leading the company to turn a blind eye to this labor practice. China's massive population provides a continuous supply of low-cost labor for labor-intensive industry, something Shein has capitalized on. Of course, we hope that every factory worker can work in better conditions, receive fair wages, and have reasonable working hours. However, in the fierce competition of the market, they may not have better alternatives. The consumer demand for low-cost fast fashion, Shein's need for an agile supply chain, and local government's pursuit of economic growth together create the environment in which this phenomenon persists. I feel conflicted. I see the shadow of exploitation. But this might not just be a Shein issue. This might also be the hidden shadow behind the success of China's manufacturing boom.
Yeah, I really respect her for making this video and exploring what is happening in fast fashion in China. I do think it was a really well-crafted video. It showcased a lot of the ins and outs, real videos of what's happening. Like, I haven't seen these videos ever in my life, and I've been talking about fast fashion and what's happening around the world for so long. And to see these candid videos and visuals is actually very eerie and humanizes the struggle. Like, just seeing them tolling away at literally night. They've been there since 8 in the morning. Look, they're real humans dealing with overproduction, overconsumption, the greed of the world. And we have the audacity to think fast fashion is okay. We have the audacity to keep supporting fast fashion. That these brands, these fast fashion brands, think it's okay to subject these people to exploitation and for an undignified life. Like, who wants to do this 24/7 on a pay per piece rate? They're not even given minimum wage. They're not given minimum wage. Like, what even are we doing? Like, this is all in the name of profit. Like, we don't need to just survive on pennies. Like, we can actually share the wealth. We can continue to do the work. Like, we can become better humans, not only for ourselves, but for everyone else. Like, we need to ensure that everyone is having a good, dignified life. Subjecting them to these working conditions, who does this do good for? It's just filling the pockets of executives. And you may say, oh, it gives people jobs. But is this the jobs that we want to give to future generations? No. I think we would all say no if we actually care about people. So I congratulate Cynthia. This is the YouTuber who did this video. It has really opened my eyes, even more so, of what's happening in the industry. And if you want to check her out, her name is Cynthia Lin, and I've learned so much. And all the comments resonate as well. They were saying, I know you're not a journalist, but this is a really thorough and authentic reporting, in my opinion. Great job. Yeah, it was amazing. It was an amazing video. Yeah, very, very well curated. And this just came on my recommended videos. I didn't know who she was, or I've never heard of her before. It was just merely recommended for me to watch. So to move on, I do have a couple more things I do want to talk about. One of the things that I enjoy talking and analyzing is marketing and brands. And one of the things that I've seen is actually Hermes has released like a film showcasing their films for some reason. They had a singing Birkin. I feel like this is a retaliation or a comeback from the Workin, which is like the fake version of the Birkin. It's like the Walmart. The Workin has been sold in Walmart for some reason. And I think they just want to like regain their branding, if that makes sense. So let's watch this. I can't hear the audio. Wait, is my audio off? I can't hear it. Are they actually singing, or I can't just, oh.
In a dream as light as the tread of a very timid cat, as the breeze.
One of the comments says, trying to sell before China exposes that it costs $50 per bag. And someone says commercial, and I agree. I feel like this is all just to regain their branding, to assert themselves as the leader of the bag, basically, and to not have people support the Workin. That's my assumption. Some other person said that they do this annually, so it may not be a huge thing, or like an extra special thing because of the work-in thing, but I do feel like the work-in is more accessible for the everyday person, while the Birkin obviously is like very exclusionary. It's for those privileged people that have money to like exude egoism through a $10,000 bag and showcase their classism publicly. But it's just very interesting how they have enough money to make a literal commercial about bags singing. I think it's very telling that they're focused on those that have a lot of time to be in delusional states of mind, where capitalism is literally destroying our earth. But here we are with our singing Birkins because we don't want to escape reality so bad from our wealthy houses and our like privilege. So I'm not a fan of Birkins if you're picking up on the vibe. I don't think we need these very expensive bags that cost way too much. But if you're privileged, you got money, then show your egoism. Who am I to control you and take away your individualism? But it's very interesting. It's a very telling time of like where brands stand, what they want to showcase. And I think this is clearly escapism performance of some sort, marked in theatrical displays of like fun and lightness. But I don't think this is needed. I don't think this has a place in the world that needs more, responsibility and accountability in how things are made. I personally don't know, though. I admit I don't know how Birkins are made, but I would love to have more information about that. I think brands should be responsible in telling us where their brands are. I think brands should be responsible of telling us where their products are being made, but I have no idea. From the outside looking in, I have no idea. Theatrics, man, theatrics. And one other thing that I saw is that North Face has partnered with an influencer. His name is Dr. DJ. And I think a lot of brands have personified or humanized their brand a bit more in the name of relevance. TikTok has really made this more apparent than ever before. Like a lot of brands are commenting on influencers' videos being like, ha ha ha, so funny, or they act like they're your friend to like make it feel like they understand you or know you or are on the same level as you. And I feel like the North Face has kind of caught up to that and is using a similar take by using influencers' videos and collaborations. I saw this on I don't remember where I saw this, but let me see if I can find it on his personal page. It's not showing up in the official page. Let me see. So this is the influencer that they used. Okay, it's this one.
Jacket and said, go get cold and go get wet. I'm pretty cold. I'm pretty wet. Go buy a North Face. What else do you need? You think I'd be out here if this thing wasn't warm? Lost your mind. I'd sue them. That's what would happen. Brand North Face sent me.
It's like very dry humor. And he was just like, go buy it. Like, I wouldn't be here unless it worked. But the interesting thing about the collaboration is that it was gifted. I wonder how much they paid him for the advertisement. And he collaborated with them a couple times that it became like a funny series of sorts because he kept saying the same thing and almost acting annoyed that he had collaborated with the North Face to promote their jackets. But I think we're in the new era of influencing, of marketing, of getting people to buy. Here's another one.
So I reached a level in my teaching career where now students recognize me from social media. Like they'll be like, oh, you're Dr. DJ. I saw your video last night. Here's weird stuff that happens because of that. Number one, say I post and say like, oh, I got a dog. Somebody or a student will inevitably come in and just be like, heard you got a dog yesterday. And I was like, oh yeah, you saw my video.
As you can see, he's clearly wearing the jacket as he tells a personal story and being very relatable. And I think the North Face needs that to like gain trust and repertoire, and like just more sales is, I guess, guaranteed in their eyes if they have someone that people care about and seems friendly, is good natured, wholesome, has like the American dream sort of thing achieved. And I do think the North Face is like very nationalistic, very like American. So it's very interesting though. It's just to know, it's very interesting how brands work with influencers what humor they're supporting, because he has a very like dry humor and very straightforward. So it's very telling how more brands are going to get more creative on how to just sell things in general. And it's going to become even more subliminal, even though he explicitly is saying just go buy it. But I think that is more powerful than this like other sort of like campaigns of where they've appeared in magazines or they've appeared in like normie commercials. So very compelling new direction that a lot of brands are taking that we need to stay more aware of, even if they're explicitly saying go buy. Another thing that I saw in midst of like Coachella is Farmchella. I am a fan of music and I am a fan of Coachella. It's been my dream to go to Coachella my whole life, and I've talked about like Coachella in my past live streams, and I've talked about fashion looks. I'm not a fashion police. I just like to admire fashion, especially within vintage festivals. And one thing that I've noticed is it's become different. Like it used to be like more festival boho vibes. Now it's more so like vintage fast fashion or just like unique pieces. So it doesn't seem like there's a cohesive vibe. And a lot of the looks that we saw in 2025 that I've been seeing a lot of like fashion critics talk about. But at the end of the day, like what I really care about is like fashion justice and like social justice in general and environmentalism. And I, in a way, would see myself attending Farmchella versus Coachella. And I didn't know Farmchella existed until like literally yesterday when I was looking for news to talk about for today. And Farmchella, if you're not aware, is like an organization where people come together to celebrate farm workers that are very present within the Coachella area. It's a farm, I guess, location. And I would rather honestly go to Farmchella than Coachella. And I'll show you the video and you'll see why.
A lot of basic essentials and personal essentials, and most importantly, a lot of empowerment and community. And we're super excited. We're partnering up with some great organizations and some great companies today. And it's also to just remind Coachella Festival and just the communities that are watching that Coachella is more than a festival. It's a city, a valley, and a home to thousands of farm workers that endure so much to put food on our tables, who get very little recognition. Today is all about them and recognizing them and their hard work and honoring them, and also coming with some entertainment for the whole family. We have mariachis, danza, folklorico, and a very special artist on top of just community, being in community with our farm workers. Farmchella!
It's so cool. It happened April 18th. So like at the end of the first week of Coachella, this is when it happens. And then here's a little bit of it. Oh, I'm gonna get copyright striked. Oh. See, this is super cool. I wonder if anyone has gone and actually like filmed their time at Farmchella, because if not, I want to definitely vlog my time there if I end up being able to go next year. That's a distant dream for now, because obviously I don't have any resource right now to go. But imagine if I go and like actually vlog it. That'd be so fun. Oh, there's me again, multiple times. Whoa. Farmchella. So there's a vlog here. Let's see.
Estamos aquí en la ciudad de Coachella en un evento que se llama Farmchella. Farmchella para la gente aquí del Valle de Coachella, que son campesinos, y gracias a ellos tenemos todo aquí.
Growing up, people would be like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Flower" in Spanish, like flor, right? For years, we've been seeing, you know, people bringing awareness to the farm worker community in Coachella, but I feel like there still hasn't been enough attention to the matter, right? And so I was like, you know what, let's approach it in a positive way.
Hola, ¿cómo estamos, Coachella? We're right here at Farmchella, joined by a lot of farm workers, our community, nuestra comunidad. Y nosotros crecimos hijos de campesinos, fuimos campesinos, y estamos muy orgullosos ser regidor y poder traer esos eventos aquí en Coachella. Very proud as a council member, as a son of farm workers and a former farm worker myself. we're very proud to bring events like this that are meant to provide services, produce, but also entertainment for our farm worker community.
We keep throwing hints, right, to the Coachella Festival. Hey, you know, think about the farm workers. And it was finally like, you know what, we'll do it ourselves, right? And so this is what we're doing. Year number 2, it's only getting bigger and better. And yeah, we're happy to be here and, you know, thank, honor, and celebrate our farm workers and their families and just show them that we see them and we appreciate them. So yeah, we're really excited.
Sorry, es una entrevista.
Pues bien, aquí andamos. Sí.
Ayudando a la gente.
Echándole ganas y venimos aquí a disfrutar un ratillo. We're going to make sure we do it a 3rd year and a 4th year and a 5th year, but every year is going to get even bigger. So this year is looking great. We have a lot of attendance, and it's even bigger than it was last year. We have a lot more organizations present. We see the UFW Foundation. We have a few law offices. A huge shout out to Celebration Nation and Imasi Moore for putting this together. We're very proud to partner with Flor Martinez from Celebration Nation, her sister as well, and everyone involved. It's a great event. We're happy to be here. Look at all the kids running, having a great time. And you know, Coachella happens right in our backyard. So this is us doing something, bringing the feel of a festival of fun entertainment to our community. And we're gonna continue doing it.
It's a great event for the community, right? Giving back to the farm workers, the people that feed America and the Valles. So it's a good way to give back. I appreciate everybody that took part in organizing this event, and hopefully we keep it going for many more years.
What's up, guys? What's up?
What's up, Farmchella? What's up, TV?
How y'all doing? ¿Es su primera vez aquí en la ciudad de Coachella?
Es la primera vez aquí en Coachella, creo que sí. Sí.
¿Y qué le parece aquí más o menos?
Pues está bien, calorcito.
Calorcito, ¿eh?
Bueno, sí, bueno.
No, ¿y a qué se espera la gente hoy aquí, los que no los han mirado?
Pues esperamos que la pasen un rato a gusto y también nosotros echar un algo aquí. No sé si pueda tomar o no, pero si no, pues una agua con hielo que sea.
Sí, una fría, dijo una fría.
Jugo verde.
Puro jugo verde.
Una de zanahoria. A huevo.
Tal vez es coincidencia, tal vez no. El grupo se llama Los Farmers de Paris, California.
See, I would much rather be here at Farmchella than Coachella. Every time I see a vlog of Coachella, everyone's like running around in the desert. They either need to go pee, they're puking, or they're hungry, or they're lost, or they're just overwhelmed. This looks wholesome. I want to go to Farmchella, and I am sure it doesn't cost $1,600 for a ticket. And I am not going to camp out on the floor to go see musicians. Like, you can be comfortable, you can go enjoy musicians, and then you go back to your everyday normal life and have a cozy, comfy bed that you can afford. Like, paying $1,600 to just go camp out in the desert and then have your shit blown away by the wind, and you're over here like sleep deprived and like hungry, you haven't really showered. So sometimes I'm like, do I really want to go to Coachella? And then I see these things, I'm like, Farmchella just makes much more sense. And you get to eat chips with your people. I love this.
Entonces aquí, ¿están listos?
Aquí andamos los farmers, por primera vez en la bella ciudad de Coachella. Muchas gracias por invitarnos. Y vamos a disfrutar un poquito de la música que traemos para todos ustedes. Y arriba toda la gente que trabaja en el campo. Puro farmer.
Yes, I love this. Copyright strike me right now. It's worth it. No one's dancing. No one's dancing. Why? I dance like a white girl. Alrighty. Oh wow, it keeps going. Let's just skip forward. See, this is what I like. Family, music, community, and culture. And supporting farm workers. I love that. I love this.
Estamos aquí en Farmchella. Esto empezó de nuestro amor para nuestros campesinos y pues queremos regresar cada mes para dar alimento, pero para hacer eso necesitamos voluntarios entre la comunidad, ¿verdad? Les digo que nosotros traemos las vegetales, las frutas, las tarpas, las mesas, los baños, lo que sean, pero ustedes tienen que llegar para ayudar a su comunidad. Entonces los invitamos, pueden ir a celebrationnation.org o @celebrationnation.org en todas las redes sociales. Los esperamos aquí para nuestros campesinos y pues gracias a todos que apoyaron a Farmchella, gracias a todos los que llegaron. Hoy celebramos y honoramos a los campesinos, les dimos poquito de todo y esto era de parte del corazón. Entonces muchas gracias y los esperamos para el otro año y si no para el otro mes.
Nos despedimos con esta compa, se llama El Gallo Negro.
Yay.
Y dice así. Como dijo el gallo negro, hay que echarle puta cera. Ya voy a encargar la planta, lánzate por la manguera. Quiero purita cajeta de la que ahora anda pegando. Hay que tirarnos de pecho para surtir los marihuanos. Ni modo que sea mentira que en el ruedo le topamos. Así andan varios baches en California, se queman. Solo del mejor producto con esencia sale buena. ¿Qué me van a andar contando si produzco por montones? En estos tiempos he visto morritos muy hocicones que se queman un buen toque y sienten que son al cabo.
Yay! So cool. Let's hear what she has to say and then we'll move on.
Success, and now it's time to clean up, but we're happy to do it and we'll do it again over and over.
So next year, people, how could if people want to help out, how could they reach out to you? Where can people find more information?
Yeah.
Not even just next year, just in general, because we don't want them to just be aware, like.
Yeah, so actually we're going to be distributing groceries every month moving forward, starting in May or June. And that's when we're going to still need volunteers here locally to help serve, their local community. We have right now 20 different distributions across the state, and now we're finally ready to bring it to Coachella, but it takes the community to come out and keep it going. We'll provide the fruit and the vegetables, we'll provide the tents and the tables, and the space and the bathrooms, but it takes the community to show up for the community. So we invite you all to come. You can look on celebration-nation.org to sign up to volunteer, or you can check us out at celebrationnation.org on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, you name it. Or you can find me everywhere at Flower in Spanish. And so, yeah, we'll see you here.
All right, do what you just said, pero en español.
Okay, wait a minute. The same thing as the recent one?
It's okay.
Or everything? No.
Okay. So cool. I love to see this. Maybe in the future I can attend. That would be such a goal, especially because they're so oriented to farm workers, providing resources, being in community, supporting local musicians or up-and-coming musicians at that. So very amazing to see. So if you want to support, you can rewatch the video, get all the emails and stuff. But yeah, seems like the main organizer is called Flower in Spanish. So I love to see this happen. Hosted mainly by celebrationnation.org. Very cool. And they serve, inform, and uplift Indigenous/Latino communities through nutrition, education, and resources. I want to go so bad. The thing is, I don't have money. If I did, I'd be here at Farmchella, not Coachella. Farmchella. Okay, so it's been a long stream. This is actually part 2 of part 1 of my live stream for today. If you want to see the part 1, you can look at my live streams and you'll learn more about whether Urban Outfitters is like greenwashing. You'll learn about Fashion Revolution Week that launched today, and you'll hear what a lot of Sisty lovers have done for Earth Day, which is today. But to end off today's live stream, I'm going to keep it a bit short and watch this TED Talk by this lady. Her name is Dinny, and she's going to talk about the secret life of fabric scraps. I won't be really talking or analyzing. I'm just going to be listening. Hopefully you enjoy the live stream. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe. Please support me with a like. You can follow me on social media. It means the world to me. I'm really paying attention, and I really want to be part of communities. So if you are like-minded, if you resonate, if you want to be part of these conversations, this community, I really do invite you to be part of it. But yeah, really happy that you were here, whether on the live or watching the recordings. I really do appreciate you. I know we can do a lot of great stuff together, so please join me. I would love to have you. So without further ado, let's watch this TED Talk. Very exciting. Very exciting. Not the ad is exciting. The TED Talk is exciting. Come on, capitalism. Move it.
Imagine a world where textile is more valuable than gold, where scraps of fabric are precious and safe. That world existed not too long ago. Today, we read in the newspapers endless stories of 39,000 tons of fabric and textiles ending up in the desert in Chile. We know that one truck of textile waste and garment is dumped, burned every second. It's one of these things in fashion that I struggle with the most. It's the thing that in my company, I always wonder, how should we deal with this? Now, my love affair for fashion started a long time ago. When I was 12 in school, we had a whole class on how to by hand stitch a doll and then put the face on it and make the hair. I loved it. I was one of the kids that was finished the earliest. And so one of the moms that was there to help came to me and she explained to me that I had to take some measurements and then convert these measurements into drawings and then cut some scraps, and altogether that would give me a dress. Now, I was fascinated and I got to work. I measured the length of the arm of the doll and the length of the doll, and I did the math and I got something which looked like this. I stitched it together and I was mesmerized. I had a complete fascination for what happened in front of me. I took something two-dimensional, and with some measuring, it turned into a three-dimensional garment. Now, I immediately got very, very excited because I saw my future. I saw the potential. If this works for a doll, it should work for me. So I got to work. This is what the dress looks like. I measured myself. I went to my mother and I said, I need fabric. So she thought it was one of these whimsical things where a 12-year-old has a new hobby for a week or so. So she took me to the cheap fabric shop where they sell curtains and table runners, and I bought the most beautiful green and white checkered fabric, and I cut myself a dress, and I wore it with pride. I didn't realize then and there that I might have used a technique, an ancient technique, that would solve one of my later in life problems, and that would come back as a very afterthought in my work. Now, of course, what we did was very simple, but also with a lot of history. At that time, I had no understanding of that. So many years later, I started a company. I have been fascinated about fashion, about sustainability, and about how we can make clothes for a long time. And in my company, we look at how we can do the best we can in making sustainable clothes. That means we look at organic cotton, and we look at how things are dyed and who is making them and where. We look to the distance our garments travel, the amount of salaries people get paid that are stitching our clothes. We look at all of that. And we know that the system that happens today on a global scale of how we make textile and fashion is broken, but we're looking constantly for solutions, for ways to do it better. So within my company, we have been looking at all of these things, but there was one thing that almost from the beginning, I didn't know how to quite solve. Every time I designed a garment, that would immediately lead to cutting waste. And so already from the beginning, I started saving it. It started with one bag, black little scraps of fabric that I was accumulating in my office. But soon I realized there was more of that. So I started calling our manufacturers and the people we worked with in Germany and in Portugal and in India, if they can please keep our very precious pieces of textile, because I have beautiful, sustainable, organic material I didn't want to waste. I didn't want it to end up on the cutting floor. Because today, industry standard is that 15% of fabric ends up on the cutting floor. That means that a precious fabric that has been lovingly grown by a farmer, the cotton crop that has matured, has been picked and processed and transported all over, that has been dyed and woven into beautiful fabrics, gets chopped up, and 15% of that precious material never becomes a garment. It just ends its life there. And for me, that was unacceptable. It was really so painful. And so I kept collecting it. I had bags and bags coming back to my office. My team thinks I'm kind of a hoarder and they laugh about my endeavors. But for me, this was really something crucial to who we were and what we were doing. You cannot talk about sustainability and not think about the end of life and about all the trouble you're creating and the mess you make with every step. So I looked into it further, and at a certain moment, this is what my office started looking like. We have piles of scrap fabric.
The world's population is increasing. Arable land is diminishing. We need solutions to produce more with less.
We sort them per color. But yeah, in the beginning, I had a dream that very soon there would be recycling solutions available that we could access into. But I really soon realized that that recycling dream for the near future will be just that, a dream. So I had to look further. So we started making things and organizing workshops where children would come to our office and we would teach them how to make dolls and games. But we are a garment design brand. We make clothes. So our scraps accumulate fast. And giving workshops was simply not sufficient enough to deal with our waste. So we looked further at patchwork. Now, patchworking was fantastic because we could cut and color coordinate from all our different bags, and we could immediately create the shapes we needed, so we didn't have to cut them out later. Now, that comes with a huge complexity, that is that scraps have random shapes. And so to do production, to ask a factory or a tailor to make many of this is very complex, because what they strive to do is exactly replicate what we have done. So this is not something that at scale would work. When we made these dresses, we realized we had to do each and every one in our office ourselves. Again, I have too much scraps to do that. Now, the reason I think it's so valuable is that we kind of forgot today how textile is made. There is such a distance between the farmer and the weaver and myself that we lost an understanding of the craft and the love and the time and energy it takes to make fabric and to make clothes. And this is why we don't really value it as highly anymore. But if you really understand how it is done, you want to look closely, you want to cherish it. Now, historically, all patterns that we had, all methods we had to make clothing was zero waste. Zero waste pattern making was the industry standard. But this was before the industrial era. This was, if you look at India, all the draping that was happening, fabric was simply so valuable, you would not think about wasting it. You would not even think about cutting it. You would simply drape it. If you were in Scotland, you would have your tartans and you would pleat away and then belt it around you and you would have your Scottish kilt. kimonos were a matter of matching the right fabrics and creating intricate patterns and then draping it and stitching it all together to make your outfit. The fact that we chop it up now and throw away 15% is because we have devalued the whole fabric and the whole process. But it used to be, and I don't know if you noticed, it used to be that if you would have a few yards of silk, you'd exchange it for a horse or even for food supply for a whole year for a family. If you would have Dhaka cotton, few meters again, you could exchange it for gold or for a horse and carriage. It was precious. This
I paused the video just to update you guys.